This is why this shoe feels clunky to me. So when I'm jogging, I feel like the shoe is bending in half on me and it feels like it's taking away any momentum. Shoe comparison review we've got for you guys today. We've got the Adidas Boston 12 up against the Saucony Endorphin Speed 4. We're going to go through what's the same, what's different, their key features and their performance, and hopefully from that, that's going to give you guys a great indication of which of these shoes is right for you. But before we get into it, massive shout out to my #1 running store, the Running Company at Geelong. I've got a link to their website in the description. Make sure you go check out that and check out all their running gear. And also, if you want to support this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And checking out our quick specs. Now, what is jumping out to me firstly is that $50 price difference between these two shoes. So the Speed, heaps more expensive here in Australia than the Boston. There's only a $10 difference in the US. Now, weight-wise as well, over an ounce lighter for the Speed over the Boston. Can you really feel that on the foot? You can't really. They both feel quite light on the foot. And in stacks, so pretty similar stacks here, but when you wear both shoes at the same time, the Speed certainly feels taller. So it feels, and even though the stats don't say that, but yeah, the Speed certainly feels like you're up higher, and that translates into the drops as well. So the Speed certainly feels like an 8mm drop, but when you stand in the Boston, it actually feels a little bit more flatter than the 7mm that it states. And in our uppers here, so with the Boston 12, so the material that they're using here, it's a recycled engineered mesh. Now, the mesh that they use on all these Adizero series, it always feels quite stiff and harsh, so it doesn't feel super comfortable on the foot. Padding wise, as again with all the Adizero series, very minimal padding, just a couple of pads here around the heel. Heel counter, it's quite rigid, so there's a little bit of play in it. Tongue, super thin tongue, the tongue is not gusseted. It's a little bit fiddly to get in place. Laces, very, very thin, fiddly laces. If you've seen other reviews, you know I'm not too keen on those. Now, lockdown in this shoe is okay. It could be better. You do have to play around or have to do the runner's knot to get a good lockdown in this shoe. The fit, challenging. So the fit in this one is certainly long. So I've had to come down a full size. So if you're going to have a look at the Boston, make sure you try this one in the shop because the fits are a little bit all over the shop. The toe box though is quite wide, which is very nice, but it's got low volume, so meaning that it's not very high. And in the Speed 4, so the material they're using again is an engineered mesh. However, this mesh is quite soft and it just fits on the foot quite nicely. Very, very comfortable. Extremely breathable shoe. Padding wise, a little bit more padding here on the Speed than what you're going to find in the Boston. Probably a moderate amount of padding around the heel collar here and a nice amount on the tongue as well. Now this tongue is amazing. It's gusseted. It's full of breathing holes as well, just aiding that breathability. Lockdown in this shoe, excellent, not a problem in the world. The laces are good. They're a little bit long and stretchy, but that's fine. Now the fit for this one, true to size, and the toe box is probably a little bit narrow if you're going to go your true to size. Yeah, overall build quality, absolutely excellent in the Speed. And in our midsoles here, so with the Boston, we've got a dual density midsole. So they are using this top layer is their Light Strike Pro. That is their premium superfoam that they use in their race day shoes. So we've got a nice amount of that, especially under the forefoot here, and then it thins out towards the rear of the shoe. And under that, they've got their glass fiber energy rod. So that's giving the shoe some rigidity. And under the glass fiber rods, they have got their Light Strike 2.0, so that's like the EVA foam, which is on the bottom, and that's just sort of adding to the cushioning, giving this foam a little bit of durability. Now flexibility wise with those energy rods, it's still got some flex, so it's not like those carbon rods. It's actually got a little bit more flex, and you'll notice the flex point here of where that is. It's actually quite nice. There's a little bit of movement left and right, but stiffness, it's still a pretty stiff shoe, but yeah, it's certainly not as stiff as a carbon plated shoe. Now geometry wise, we have got a little bit of a forefoot rocker here. I'm not going to say it's not overly aggressive. You can't really feel it. For me, it feels more traditional. However, there's no slappiness in the ride. And in the Speed, so what they're using here is their Power Run PB. Now they've used that in all their models of the Speed and also in the Pro as well. But yeah, this foam, yeah, nice and springy, nice and energetic. Now within this foam, they have got a winged nylon plate to give the foam some rigidity, or to give the shoe some rigidity. But however, it's not a carbon plate, so it's nylon, so it's still got some flex. So you can see there's still a bit of flexibility in this shoe. Now geometry wise, they have got a 4-foot rocker in this, and they call that their Speed Roll Tech. Now where they place their rocker here is right under the balls of the feet, right under the balls and under the forefoot, and it's in a really, really nice spot, and you can actually feel this shoe. I won't say it's a super aggressive rocker, but it's probably a moderate feeling rocker. You can certainly feel the shoe tipping forward, but that is really, really nice. But before we go on, what I want to talk about is these flexibility, or these flex points in these shoes. So you can see the Speed where it flexes more towards the middle of the shoe, and this is going to translate into the ride as I go through later. Now in the Boston, as I squeeze it, you can see that the flex point is up towards the toes a bit more. And in our outsole, so Boston 12, they're using their Continental rubber. So this is a market-leading rubber, market-leading grip. We've pretty much got a good amount of rubber coverage pretty much on the whole shoe. So there's not really any exposed foam that's actually hitting the ground in this shoe. It's got excellent grip, excellent durability. It's good in the wet as well. So yeah, there's no real dramas with this Continental rubber outsole. Now in the Speed, what you're going to have is complete rubber coverage again, and obviously in the high wear areas at the back, we've got a little bit of exposed foam that does hit the ground here. However, grip wise, it's fine in the dry. However, in the wet, it's still quite slippery. So Saucony have always had a bit of an issue with their rubber in the wet conditions, and this one is no different. It's slightly better, but it's still got its issues. But durability wise, this shoe again is excellent. And in the ride, so with the Boston, what you're going to get is a bit of a nice and soft and a squishy feeling, but that's under the forefoot. And it's quite stable through the rear foot, but it's still quite cushioned. You don't get a lot of bounce, or you don't get a lot of pop in this shoe, but there's just a nice amount of cushion, but there is a little bit of responsiveness. So the more you put into this shoe, so the quicker that you want to go, the more that you utilize this Lightstroke Pro, and the more you get out of it. But when you're just jogging around, it's quite a nice stable shoe, because you're hitting through a little bit more through the rear of the shoe. So this Lightstroke 2.0, it's quite stable. It's not stiff or firm by any means, but it's nice. There's a nice amount of cushion. But when you start picking up the pace and your forefoot starts digging into this Lightstroke Pro, that's when you start to feel a little bit of energy return. That's where you feel a little bit of softness and a little bit of pop. So this one, very, very versatile shoe. There's not too much wow factor. There's not too much feeling in the shoe that you can just get up and take it for a race. It's a little bit toned down, but it's still a very, very nice ride. It's a very safe ride. And in the Speed 4, what you're going to find here is it's a lot more energetic, this ride. So there's a lot more bounce, there's a lot more pop. It's probably the more enjoyable ride, and it's probably a little bit unpredictable. It's definitely not as stable as what you're going to find in the Boston, so it's a little bit loose. However, yeah, overall it's just a more enjoyable ride. But what this shoe is probably not, and it's not as versatile for me as the Boston 12. And I'll talk, when I spoke about those flex points earlier, this is what I mean. So the flex point in this shoe, as you can see, it's towards the middle of the shoe. Now when I jog in this shoe, or when you jog in this shoe, this is why this shoe feels clunky to me. So when I'm jogging, I feel like the shoe is bending in half on me, and it feels like it's taking away any momentum, and it just feels clunky. So it doesn't feel, it just doesn't feel like the shoe likes to go at that pace, because it doesn't want to bend there. However, when you pick up the pace, where this shoe starts feeling better, is when you start landing on the forefoot and you use that rocker, and then you don't feel as much, you don't feel the plate bending in the middle of the shoe as much. And in the Boston, so when you're just jogging in the shoe, you're not feeling like the shoe is just bending in half around your arch of your foot. You're just feeling that nice flexible point just where your toes naturally want to bend. So that's why this one feels a little bit better at jogging than what the Speed does. Okay, so best shoes for both these shoes are pretty much the same thing for me. So they both really shine at that steady and tempo pace. However, I'm going to also give the tick of approval in the long run department for the Boston as well. And that's just because it's the safest shoe. So it's a little bit more stable through the rear foot. I just think this one's a bit too unpredictable for me to be used as a long run shoe. So which shoe for me is best at that jogging and easy pace? I'm going to give that to the Boston, and that's just because of that flex point. As I said, it doesn't feel as clunky as what the Speed does at jogging. What feels like the better shoe at your workout shoe, your steady pace or your tempo paces? I think the Speed certainly feels like the faster shoe. It's the more lively shoe. It's got more get up and go. Right, so just to wrap it up, so what you're going to get here in the Speed 4, so you're going to get that lively ride, that bouncy ride, energetic ride. This ride is lots of fun. It's a little bit unpredictable, not so stable, feels a bit clunky at jogging. Now what you're going to get in the Boston 12, remember, it's probably not as exciting, it's a little bit more boring. However, that means it's the safer shoe, it's the more stable shoe, it's the more versatile shoe, but it doesn't feel as fast as this one. Now the grip is far more superior here in the Boston in all conditions. However, in the comfort department, the Speed wins hands down. So anyway guys, that's it from me. Love to hear your comments regarding these two shoes. If you've got any questions, drop them in the comments below. Also, if you've got any experience in any of these two shoes, let me know how they feel to you. Which one are you going to pick, Speed 4 or Boston 12? So anyway guys, again, thanks for watching. Make sure you give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.